Right. So last time we just had some introduction to a JSP. Right. So yeah. So before that, yeah. Any questions you have so far?
No, sir.
Okay. So yeah. So what is a JSP? If you say that, yeah. Yeah. We created, I think, one hello.jsp. Let's check that. Where is that hello.jsp? We have this. This is one sample JSP. Yeah. Before, I think even before this, we had done one processing servlet using a request dispatcher. Right? And one thing what we have done last time, if you open the web XML, we treat this JSP as a servlet. So JSP is basically a servlet only. Fine. What is JSP? It's a servlet. Fine. It's a servlet which is for which the code, the Java code, the servlet code basically is generated by the container only. We only write how we want the display to appear. Okay, how it should be. So we put HTML basically. The content, mainly it is the content which should go as a response to the client. And JSP is nothing but what kind of content we want to send to the client. Okay, so we design something and you can say, okay, that's my JSP. Okay, right. So any HTML would be a good candidate for a JSP. The requirement is the extension should be given as .jsp. Okay, fine. So one thing what is being done is we have a translation which is from whatever the JSP file which you give, it gets translated into a Java file. Okay, fine. So if we have written this JSP here, okay, hello.jsp, fine, it got translated into one Java code which is done by the container only. So Tomcat has done it for us. I think we had seen that last time. Okay, let's check where it is. It would be under Tomcat 9. There is a work folder. Okay, and within work you'll find the subfolders like this, and here is the application academic, and then the package structure starts. So within it, so org.apache.jsp, that's a package declaration for the Java file which is being created. See, the compiled code is also kept there itself. Okay, and here is a hello_JSP. And so for hello.jsp, it would create hello_jsp.java file. Okay, one of the things which it contains, okay, okay, this one is extending a class called http JSP base, okay, which is nothing but specific to Tomcat. Okay, fine. But one important thing about it was what we had seen last time was that we have a hierarchy basically. Any JSP, the Java file which is generated by a JSP, in this case it's from Tomcat, but it could be some other container. Fine, it could be any other container. Okay, so whatever container may be, it would have to generate a code which is implementing the JSP, HTTP JSP, HTTP JSP page. That is the interface to be implemented. Okay, I'll just show some part of the API, I think. Yeah? We can just have a look at the API part. Okay. So here is the, we have this package, right? So if we go to the documentation, fine, starting with the docs here, right? So in the reference section, just like we have the servlet Java docs, we also have the JSP Java docs. Okay. So in the JSP Java docs, you'll find javax.servlet.jsp. Okay. Right. And here here is a JSP page, and then specific to HTTP, there is a HTTP JSP page. Regarding JSP page, I think I had mentioned last time that this is, it mentions only two methods, but it is 2+1. Okay, you can read that documentation. It says 2+1 methods. Okay, so there are 2+1 methods here. The interface will have two methods, which are and it just mentions the underscore JSP service, right? If you look at that interface, it just shows two methods, JSP init and JSP destroy. Okay, over and above whatever it is see, it is extending from servlet. Okay, so JSP page is a servlet, adds two methods, JSP init and JSP destroy. Okay, and mentions about a +1. So +1 is that method called underscore JSP service. The underscore JSP service, fine, corresponding to the body, it would be again dependent on the subtype which we have, right? So for example, in case of if we are following HTTP protocol, right, the sub interface which has been created for this is the HTTP JSP page. Okay, for JSP page there is a HTTP, all known sub-interfaces. Sub-interfaces HTTP JSP page. So if you look at HTTP JSP page, here it would have that interface where it overrides a method. Fine, so it is giving this method called underscore JSP service. So that +1 is appearing in the sub-interface. Okay, parameter, since it's a HTTP JSP page, the parameter will be of type HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response. Okay, so just like that service method of a servlet, okay, JSP has, instead of service, it has the method called underscore JSP service. So what are the lifecycle methods of a JSP? See, what are the lifecycle methods of a servlet? Is someone asked, what is the answer? What are the lifecycle methods of a servlet? Let's make a comparison. I'll put it in the notes. Okay, what are the lifecycle methods? Fine. First method will be public void init, which takes servlet config as a parameter. Okay. Second lifecycle method, the regular one is a public void service with servlet. And servlet response. Okay, and the third one, okay, third one is a public void destroy. Okay, so that were three lifecycle methods for a servlet, right? Now for okay, then from this we understood that for implementation purpose we used, right? Okay, fine. Is okay. One implementation is generic servlet, which overrides service method. It doesn't override service method, which also implements servlet config. Okay, so it implements servlet and servlet config, but this is one implementation of direct implementation of servlet. Okay, for HTTP protocol, so specific to HTTP protocol, okay, we have a subclass of generic servlet called okay, so HTTP servlet is a subclass of the generic servlet. Okay, it overrides okay. So what is that other service method which it is invoking? Okay, so we have this method, understand this method 2 is there, this is getting overridden. Okay, so this is overridden to invoke which method? Okay, it's the same thing, but specific to HTTP. So it has HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response. This method in turn, okay, so we have implementation of this service method also in turn, okay, the method. Okay, now when we say method, we are talking about the HTTP method. Okay, not the method in terms of Java method name. Okay, fine. So method which is your, I'll put it like this, HTTP method, which is we can say get or put or post or okay, fine. Fine. So it identifies this and corresponding do xxx method. Okay, so xxx would be that according to that method. Okay, what is that HTTP method? To get. Okay, and all these methods have two parameters. Okay, fine. I have the two parameters which are the fine. So those are the two parameters. All of those do methods will have. Okay, fine. So this is about the servlet part. Okay, so when developing a servlet, Okay, so we may normally subclass from the HTTP servlet and override either the service method itself or okay, fine. So that's the way we develop a servlet. Okay, now coming to life cycle of a JSP. Okay, fine. For JSP, these are like this. So we have the JSP page and JSP page extends the servlet interface. And adds two method. And it adds two methods. And which are those two methods? Public void JSP init. And other is public void JSP destroy. Okay. It mentions a method for a method two parameters for protocol specific JSP. Okay. Right. So for protocol specific JSP, okay, JSP page is the JSP for and it provides a okay, fine. So this is the third method which you are getting from here. Okay, so 2 plus 1 is like this. And because it is specific to HTTP, it will be HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet. Okay, so that's the method we have. Okay, fine. So when a JSP is translated into Java, fine, it would be some implementation of the HTTP JSP page. Okay. Fine. Fine, clear up to this point. So, okay, now if someone says what are the life cycle methods of a So now if someone says lifecycle methods of a JSP, and so what are the lifecycle methods of a JSP? Those are the three. Okay, first lifecycle method will be public void JSP init. Okay, the regular lifecycle would be public void underscore JSP service. I think I can take it from here. Okay, and third one would be this one. Okay, fine. So three lifecycle methods for a JSP also. Fine. So if someone says what's a lifecycle, yeah, you can talk of these three methods. Fine. And this method, you can see it starts with the underscore, right? It means there's something about it which normally a programmer should not be doing. The automatically generated code will be the one who will create the code for this method. So you never write the code for underscore JSP service in Java. You will find there is a way by which if you want to add and provide your own initialization in a JSP, you will be able to write your Java code. I remember I said JSP is all about tags, HTML. Okay, but within HTML, there is a provision by which we can include Java code as well. Okay, fine. So here it's like this. You will, so when you're providing your additional Java code, you would be free to override this method. You would, to provide this method, you can provide this method, but never provide this particular method. Okay, underscore JSP service, that will be the container who will generate the code. Fine. Your JSP file, your .jsp file will never have this method. Fine. It should, in fact, it should never try to attempt to have this method there. Okay. So fine. Let's talk about what. Fine. So JSP which has the content to be fine. So normally, whatever HTML we wanted to send back, that content is what we keep in the JSP, right? But over and above the content, right? In this content, what all things can be included? Okay. Okay. Fine. So what are the things which can be included in JSP file? So first thing what we are going to look at today is we'll look at the scripting elements. Okay. Fine. So there are three kinds of scripting elements which can be there. Okay. Okay. We have something called okay, there are directives. Okay, so one is directives. You can have JSP directives. Second is JSP declarations, and third is a JSP scriptlet. Okay, so we can keep a scriptlet also. Okay. Fine. Directives, declaration, scriptlet, and okay, I think yeah, we have expressions. Okay, later what we may look at is we have something called an expression language. So JSP expression which I'm mentioning is different, but we can also use what is known as an expression language. In short, we call it as EL. Okay, so that will be one thing which you'll be able to use, but before reaching that stage of expression language, we'll have to look at the other aspects. Okay, fine, and then later we'll look at the JSTL. Okay, okay, so we have the JSP standard tag library. Okay, over and above this, there is a provision, but we are not having it as part of our syllabus. I'll just mention it here. So when we say JSTL, it is about having tags. There are some standard tags which can be used, but we can even have custom tags. Okay, custom tags are the tags which the developer creates. Okay, they are not from the container, they are not as part of the specifications, but some developer wants to create some tags which can be used in a JSP. You can develop such tags, and so they also have their own life cycle. So there are tags, they have their life cycle within a page, and the life of a tag would be within the JSP page. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So let's start with what are the things which can go. Let's start with the simplest things which can be used in a JSP scripting elements. One of the most simplest thing is a JSP expression. Right? In fact, we have used expression. Okay, how do we put a JSP expression? Syntax. Okay, fine. So syntax will be we'll use less than percentage equal to. Okay, and this can be so here what we put is a valid Java expression. Okay, so this is known as a JSP expression. Any kind of a valid Java expression, but it has to be included in less than percentage equal to, and so this is the kind of a kind of tag which we have available for putting a JSP expression. So any kind of a Java expression can be used here. Okay, one more thing, these two things, right, number 3 and 4 here. Okay, I will have to mark. Okay, so they are becoming part of the so you'll find that whatever we do in this 3 and 4, they will become part of the underscore JSP service method. Okay, fine. This is not going to be part of JSP service. These two are not part of JSP service, but whatever we do in this, that will affect the content directly. Okay, these have their own roles to play. We'll see, because it's about looking at it from a Java a programmer point of view. Fine, we'll look at it from that point of view more. Okay, see, there are various ways of looking at the entire thing. It's a content, so someone will look at it from a designer's point of view. Okay, basically the idea is more about some web page designer's point of view. Fine, for a JSP, the view should be that of a designer, but since we are looking at these aspects which are more from a programmer's perspective, so these are more programmer perspective. Okay, all of these 4 items. Okay, these are Java programmer specific things, because they, through this, you are including something which is about Java. Okay, so yeah, so okay, I think what I'll do is I'll demonstrate by using them straight away. Okay, let's straight away use them in a JSP page, and we'll see how they appear. Okay, how it affects the translation. Okay, right, but remember, it's only about, so one of these things we have already used, and what was that? Or this one, look at this. Okay, I can basically from here I can keep it in a separate line, right? Since it's HTML, doesn't matter, right? But you can see this is nothing but your Java expression, JSP expression, sorry. How I could use application? I've never declared a variable called application. Fine. See, we are able to use a variable called expression application without even having some declaration says, oh, this is my servlet context object. See, application, I'm saying, oh, this is a servlet context object, and I'm going to use the get servlet context name from it. And this is a method of servlet context, right? So how is it that this variable is available? Okay, let's go back to the translated code. Okay, okay, and let's check this. Let's see the translated code. This is the Java code which was generated. Okay, look at the code in the underscore JSP service. There are, you don't need to go into each and try to understand each and everything which is in this. Okay, but I'll show you the things which you need to understand. Okay, these are the things which you need to understand. Look at these declarations which are there. Okay, there are these 8 declarations. Okay, and these are variables which have been declared. Each of these variables is given a type, and this is not just that, okay, it's something which is only for Tomcat. This is part of a standard. These variables, we call them as implicit objects. Okay, I'll pick this and put it in the notes. Okay, okay, and these are nothing but your implicit objects. Okay, I'll keep the type. Okay, so but the variable name is what is important, right? Okay, so we have something called a write. This one, okay, these two are not dependent. Sorry, yeah. Okay, so this I have picked up straight away from the fine. These are the objects which I have picked up from the translated code. Variable names, that's what is important. Okay, so there's something called page context, there's something called session, there's something called application, there's something called config. The spellings will be these only. Okay, and there's something called page. Okay, so what are the implicit objects? Oh, what are the variables which I can use in this particular, sorry, see, which are the variables which we can use in this particular underscore JSP service method? And these variables are there. See, those with underscores, they are not part of a standard. Okay, so don't worry about those. Okay, fine. Yeah, so look at this entire method, right? Within this method underscore JSP service, which variables can be used? Can we pick this up? Fine. Okay, I think I'll take the second one also. Fine. In fact, we should start with those two. Okay, so which are the implicit objects? Oh, these are the implicit objects we have. I have put the types for the objects. Okay. So we have request, we have response, we have page context, we have got session. We have got a variable called out, and we have got a variable called page. Okay. Fine. So these are some of the implicit objects which can be used in a JSP page. So when writing, now those two elements which we are talking about, right? The last one I said scriptlet and expressions. Okay. So if there is a scriptlet or a expression, right? Syntax for a scriptlet and syntax for an expression, that I have just shown the syntax for an expression. So expression is like this. Okay, so when writing an expression, I can make use of all of these objects. Okay, that's the whole idea. Okay, last time we used this application object. The type is servlet context, so we can make use of this object, right? When when writing a expression. Fine. See some valid expressions. If some place I want the date. Okay, someone can say, okay, let's have a new java.util.date. Okay, I've created a date object. So yeah, so whatever the toString conversion of this, that will take place, and you'll be seeing the date, current date and time, basically. Fine. Fine. That standard to string conversion for a date object, java util date object, that would take place. Okay, so you could use anything from the Java API. Fine, any object, right? You could create an object like this and say, okay, this is my expression. It's a Java expression, right? Okay, so when we write example of a Java expression is like this. JSP expression. Okay, fine. And last time we have used one JSP expression already. Let me put it here. Dot application dot get servlet context name. Okay. Fine. So anything in this percentage equal to, right, and less than percentage equal to, and within percentage greater than. Fine. So that will get translated. How it was translated? So what happened to it? So if you have any expression, that this code gets translated to, okay, okay, out dot. Okay, and whatever the expression you may have, right? So okay, I'll say that valid Java expression. So it just says, okay, I just passes it to the print method, right? Out dot print. Understand this out which is being used here is nothing but that same implicit object which we have. In that list, you can see there is that second last one is the out object. Okay, so we can see we can use out. Okay, and that's the same out object. Okay, so it's out dot print and something like this, whatever the valid Java expression. Okay, this valid Java expression means whatever is within your, okay, for example, okay, so if this is what was used, okay, translation would be, and this is what will be the translation. So you want to see whatever out.print, out is nothing but writing to the buffer. Recollect, response has a buffer. It is that responses buffer to which this JSP writer is writing. Fine. JSP writer is a writer. And we'll see how it is a writer. It extends from writer class. Okay, you want to see this, that it extends from the writer class. Okay. So you can use the methods of writer on that. Okay, let's check this in the API. Okay. There is this JSP writer. You'll have a class called JSP writer. Here is the JSP writer. See, we have the page context. Factor you can ignore for the time being. There is a JSP context. Okay. And yeah, so here is the JSP writer. Yeah, this one extends from java.io.writer. Fine. You have the java.io package. You have done that, right, in the core Java part. So you should be knowing what is a writer. Okay. And so this is for buffering purpose basically. So it extends from writer. Okay, so that all methods of writer become available to you. Okay. Fine. Clear how the translation would be affected. And you have seen this effect, right? So I have shown this example. We have done it for application.getServlet context, that getServlet display name. No, it is getServlet context name. Yeah. So that translation. Oh, sorry. Here is the JSP hello underscore JSP. And in this, if you see the translation which was done after the initial declaration of all these variables, implicit objects, okay, it has done okay. See, all this is out.write, out.write, but when it came across the when it came across this the place, everything whatever was there, it has put it in double quotes, that this has to be sent to the as part of a response. Okay, so it's using the write method there of the writer, but here it is using the print method of the writer. Okay, and in print method it has picked up the whatever was application.get servlet context name, whatever we have written. Okay. Okay, now so maybe while writing this, somewhere you want to do you make use of some other things. You want to declare your own variables, some local variable you want to have, okay, or any such things. Yeah, you want to do some computation. See, this is code generated by container, fine, Tomcat in this case, fine, but you direct it. How that what should be in that code is directed by what you write in the JSP. Sorry, we had that hello.jsp. Yeah, here. So this JSP will decide what is the code which is going there. Okay, so if you make changes here, so this is expression, right? Example of an expression. One more thing, you want to know how to put a JSP comment. Fine. How do you put a comment in a JSP? See, for example, I want this to be commented. Okay, I want to put a comment here. Okay, and I'll put it like this, 2 dash. This is a JSP comment. Understand? This is a JSP comment. Okay. Fine. and you have to put it like this. So this is how you put a comment in JSP. Fine. So this will be ignored by the JSP for translation purpose. Understand, this is used for translating to Java. If you put anything like this part only, okay, only this part is going to be ignored by the for translation purpose. So this won't have any effect anywhere. Fine, clear? Okay, want to see this? That there is no effect of this, and okay, let's add one more type of element. So one scripting element, expression, that becomes clear. Fine, expressions are written like this. Let's add one more kind of element. Let's add a scriptlet. Okay, to write a scriptlet, we use like this. Don't put a equal to, that's it, space straight away. Okay, so normally we would put some kind of a block. Okay, this is some valid Java code. So whatever you put here will be taken as it is in the service method. So within the service method, after I have done application.getServe, so out dot, you understand, this is this one, everything up to this point. Okay, everything up to this point has been, so up to this point there was no everything was there is nothing which is a scripting element. Okay, there's no scripting element or nothing of specific to JSP. It's just like whatever is there in an HTML, right? So all of these will be out dot right in double quotes, whatever is there. Fine, that's how the translation happens. Okay, this thing from here, okay, this thing to be ignored. Fine, that will be completely ignored. Fine, this again after this, so these many spaces, so that would again be out dot right. But when it comes across this, okay, out dot print, and out dot print whatever is within this. Okay, and then in double quotes, this part in double quotes. Okay, in double quotes right up to this point. Okay, and then from here, this point onwards, this is to be ignored. Okay, again it will have to out dot right so many spaces and everything. Fine, but now whatever you write here, okay, that will not go as out dot right, but it will go directly as a Java code. So this is a scriptlet is nothing but your valid Java code, and you put some valid Java code. Okay. Fine. Okay, so it will be less than percentage. Okay, and any number of lines you can go, even right. So this will be valid Java code. Okay, ends with percentage greater than. So that's a scriptlet. Okay, right. Let's see. So let's update the JSP. We'll have to start Tomcat and we'll have to see the effect of what we are doing here. Okay, right. So any code to be included? Maybe you want to use that out object. Oh, we have those implicit objects. Any of those things? Someone says, okay, let me check. You want to say, fine. See, one thing, if someone says system.out.println, right? This is valid, okay? But where is the system.out? There is no standard output, because the thing is, it is for, it does not show in the browser. Fine, system out will be something which will be shown in the Tomcat's console. Okay, so if you are trying something like this, it will go into the Tomcat's console. Fine, that is how the it is supposed to be. But what is normally done is Tomcat would redirect it into one log file. So there are separate log files. A number of log files are generated. One of the log file contains whatever you put on system out println. There will be other things as well. Okay, so a lot of system out println which will be there from the various libraries being used by Tomcat. Okay, so anyone doing a system out println goes in one standard log file. So you can write something with system out println also. Okay, but that won't go in the content which is sent as a response. You want to send anything as a response. Okay, and this does not go to the browser. Okay, it's a valid code. System out, yes, system out is a valid object. You want to write something, you can use out.println. It's a yeah, print and println are valid methods of the JSP writer. Okay, so you can say out.println, right? So okay, this. Okay, so we should be seeing this in the browser because you have used out.println directly. Fine. Equivalent thing could have been this comes on the browser from Scriptlet. Okay. Fine. And anything else you would someone wants to declare a variable, he can do that. Okay, or okay, okay, get parameter, and suppose some parameter is expected, right? Are we sending some parameter there, or request get method? Okay, we can know whether it is get or post or something. Get method. Okay, so let's print the method. Yeah, you can do that. See, we have used the implicit object. This is the spelling by which the request object is available. Okay. Okay. You want to do response dot something, you can do that also. Okay. So request, response, all those implicit objects are available for you to use in a expression or in a scriptlet. Okay. And keep this. Want to keep some, because it is going to be considered as a HTML content. So you want to use some tags, you can include tags also, right? Okay. You want to make it bold, I think we can make it B. And here. Okay. And you want to make this part bold. Okay, that can be done. Okay, fine. Now we'll have to, I think we need to start Tomcat. We haven't started Tomcat today. Let's start Tomcat. Okay. Tomcat. Oops. If you have to compile, okay. So dot backslash, this will be Tomcat 9 bin, and we have the startup. Okay, let's start Tomcat. Fine, so Tomcat has started. Okay, and let's try. Okay, let's start the Tomcat manager. Okay. Manager app. Fine. So our application status is running is true. Fine, so it's working. Okay, and one session has been created for it. Yeah? Okay, let's check this. Now, localhost colon 8080 slash. Right? Because from process, if we forward, right, it's through forward that we go to the hello JSP. Yeah. Okay. Fine, you can see this part, what has come and what has not come. Okay, that can be seen. And now let's see the generated code also. One second, in the Tomcat, here is the Tomcat console, and you can see here in this console, you can see not going to browser. And you can see that this is your system out println. Any system out println basically goes to the console of the Tomcat. Okay. And this was because you did a system. It's not meant for the browser. Okay. It's on the, it will be on the server side within the console of the Tomcat. Okay. System out is this thing. And but we are interested in sending a response as part of HTTP protocol, and there you should use out. Okay, out is one of the implicit objects. Okay, this has appeared, right? This comes on the browser from scriptlet, and then the method name was get. Yeah, that's what was used. So you can see method is get, and this is fine. Okay, let's check the translated code also now. And here is the translated code. We need to reload. Hello underscore. It's not reloading. Okay. Let's try opening. Last modified shows Friday, not today's date. I'm not sure what's there in this. Okay, it's here basically. Since we have shifted it to WebINF, right? We in WebINF JSP folder we have created. This is the one which is to be looked at. That earlier one is the one which was created when we had the one hello.jsp in the root of the application, right? And then we have removed it from there basically. But this is how it is, right? So let's check this code. So the code for underscore JSP service, okay? Here are the implicit objects, okay? And those variables which are there. And response outside content type, okay? And then out.write. This is how the output is generated. Okay? And the display name for application is, and all of those things are fine. See, even those additional blank space that gets a up to that comment part, right? Start of the comment, there was a blank, so that will come. Okay, start of comment, after the comment, and before the expression part. Okay, and here is the expression. This is the translation from the expression, and here you can now see this. This is the code as it is. Within that block, we had created a block for the scriptlet, and this is the code which is coming as it is. And so if you create a scriptlet, it is coming as it is within the JSP service method. So it gets included in JSP service. So fine. So this is going to be executed the way you have written. Fine. So here I have only done output part, but you can do any kind of valid Java coding. Okay, declare some other local variable, do some arithmetic, do whatever you like. Okay, fine. The whole fine. The point becomes clear. The use of the two things, expression and scriptlet. Okay, fine. How it affects your JSP. Fine. It only affects us. So both of those, third and fourth item, right? They affect the underscore JSP service method. Directly translated like this. Okay, fine. Next, let's look at the other syntaxes. Okay. So what's the other syntax? We'll have the, okay. Then we can go for the declaration first. Okay. A JSP declaration is declared like this. You have the less than percentage exclamation, and then any member of a valid member of a Java class. Okay, we understand what goes in a Java class definition. You can have a method, you can have variables. If you have a variable, it would be an instance variable or a class variable. Fine. Scriptlet is local to the underscore JSP service. And expressions local to the underscore JSP service. Okay, but a declaration that will be outside the underscore JSP service. Okay, fine. So I want to go for some kind of a declaration. You see, I'm showing a declaration of maybe you might like to have a static variable. Fine. Instance variable is not a good idea. You can always declare instance variables, but it's never a good idea that your servlet uses instance variables of its own. Because one thing, from multi-threading point of view, right, there will be, you know about synchronization, right? Okay, because there are multiple requests simultaneously coming from for the same servlet. Okay, a servlet is not going, the same instance of servlet is same, that service method would be invoked by multiple threads simultaneously, one thread for each client who is currently asking for the making a request. Okay, so multiple threads working on the same object is what is the case with a servlet. Okay, fine. So if you have instance variables, it becomes one variable shared by multiple threads. Fine. And therefore, if no locking is done, there is some if it's a mutable object, right, then corruption things is possible. Okay, so normally we avoid using any instance variable in servlets, right? Okay, if at all, if there is an instance variable, it should be read only. It should not be something which is modifiable, mutable. Fine, keep it immutable. Fine, nothing should update it, right? If there are variables, you can keep variables, but then do not have any mechanism to update them. Okay, don't provide any such things. Fine, otherwise that locking thing will come into picture. Okay, fine. So you might like to have some declaration. So for example, you want to declare a method. Okay, let's do it in hello.jsp. Okay, so in this hello.jsp, this needs to go. This is the old one. Yeah. This is the JSP. Okay. Now, declarations will not matter, but normally the whole idea is declarations we may put earlier on. Okay, fine. Even before any other content, you might put a JSP declaration. Exclamation, that's for declaration. Okay, so maybe I just want to say I want to have a private variable, static. Okay, int, fine. Okay, something like this. Suppose I'm showing that just like you have a static variable, you could even have something like a method. Okay, whole method. Yeah, public void. Okay, get. Yeah, you can have get constant. Okay, I'm just providing a method like this. So yeah, you can have a method. Fine. Okay. Fine. So get constant, that's a method, and it just says, okay, return. Fine. And in the end, you just say percentage greater than. Okay, so you could have method. Someone wants to have a nested class. It's possible. Anything which can go in a class definition, right? It would have to be that can be declared using a declaration. Okay, so this you can see. If I compile this and let's try. We don't have to see. We don't have a separate process of compiling or anything. Just invoke the servlet which is going to call for the JSP, and when the JSP is called, right, it will see that, oh, this is not yet translated. After the last translation was done, there is some change which has taken place in the JSP file. It will retranslate it. It will do the translation again and compile it. Okay. If no change is done, then it is not going the translation way. Okay. Fine. Translation only when the date of modification for the JSP file becomes greater than the date of last modification date for the class file. Okay. Okay, let's look at let's do this again. So this is not affecting the output at all. Okay, only thing it will affect here is that currently, okay, so there is some error which we have done. An error occurred and it shows you where the error is. Void method cannot return a value, right? The method's return type is void. So when it is see, it's doing the it translates and then compiles. So when it is compiling, it is seeing that, oh, there is some error here. Okay, and it cannot compile this return type void, but you are putting a return statement. So we'll have to put the return type as int. Okay, fine, and then we can look at it again. Okay, we have saved it. One second. It's still showing return type as void. Oh, okay, it's taking time. So it's doing the translation, compilation, and then invoking it. For some reason, it's taking too much time. Okay. Okay, let's go to a different page. Okay, it's taking time, I think. Probably because we have kept this open. Should I close this and then check? Because this gets locked probably. Okay, let's check now. Okay, let's try checking if it has finished that, at least the translation part, if you can see. Okay, let's check this. What is the translation? Whether it has appeared, right? Yeah, you can see this. See, the translation has taken place. Yeah, so this has come here because we made a declaration. It's not part of the JSP service method, but it is within your class definition. Okay, fine. What class to create, all that is decided by the container, but when the class for the JSP is created, it will include these declarations. And so you may then be able to use them in your expressions, right? When you write your expressions, you can use this method, you can invoke this method, right? Okay, you can use this variable also, though it's private. Yeah, it's within the class itself. Okay, fine. So clear up to this? Okay, fine. And then what's the fourth one? Let it take time. I think what we can do is we can restart Tomcat maybe. Is it showing something on that console, Tomcat console? No, there's nothing specific on the Tomcat console. For some reason, and this is still waiting. Okay, this one is waiting. Okay, let's restart Tomcat, or maybe we reload this application. Reload, is it working? No, it's not. It's not even reloading. It's stuck somewhere. Anyway, it could translate though. We have seen that it has been able to translate it, right? The translation to Java file that has taken place correctly. Okay. Okay, we may restart Tomcat then. Okay, so from command, you can do a shutdown. This hasn't closed. This should have closed. With the shutdown, this thing should have closed. Okay, maybe we'll have to close it. Yeah, okay. So when Tomcat has been closed now, and we may start again. Okay. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so it has given us a response, and anyway, translation was not to be, the output was never going to be affected by whatever change we had done. Okay, fine. The only thing was the translation, this part. Yeah. Okay. We have the hello.jsp. Okay, this is not hello.jsp here. Okay, I want to print any of those things. And here we can say I want to invoke that get constant method. Let's see that. So this should not be an error, okay? Because we have a declaration for get constant as a method. Okay, I'm just demonstrating what are the things which go. Okay, fine. There are much better ways of using each of these elements. Okay, okay, fine. But yeah, constant 25. Yeah, so you can see this right now. It has been fine. This time it's not stuck. It has worked. Okay, and you can see the translated code if you like. Reload this. Okay, when this was part of the scriptlet, so that comes as it is. Okay, next we can look at the JSP directives. JSP directives, their syntax is percentage, sorry, and then at the rate. Okay, then here will be the okay, at the rate. There are a couple of directives only, not many directives. There is a directive JSP page at the rate page, right? So this is like we can say directive name, okay, and then it would have attributes. Okay, this would be followed by attribute values. Percentage at the rate page. Page is the name of a directive. Okay, so we have a directive called page, right? Where one of the attributes is language. Language equal to Java. Okay, we understand, right? You can actually go and write in multiple lines also. So one attribute in one line maybe. So language equal to Java. Now you may be interested in managing some kind of import declaration. See, I had to write java.util.date. I cannot just say date, right? For that I need an import declaration. So if I want an import to be managed, I can say imports or import equal to, and you can use something like this, which is the import java.util.star. You want more imports, you can use a comma and specify more imports. Java.sql.star. Maybe I want to use something from the JDBC also, right? So I can have this kind of a thing. Okay, so we have directives like this. Okay, import, right? Then okay, what should be the size of the buffer? Okay, auto flush, whether auto flush should be true or false. Okay, by default it is true. You can make it false also. Right? So a directive is this kind of a form where we have a directive name at the rate and then a directive name followed by attribute. Fine. Each directive has a number of attributes. Okay, fine. And I think spelling mistake is there. Okay, buffer or buffer size. I'm not. I'm forgetting the exact name of the attributes. Okay, buffer or it is buffer size. And then I can say 8K or 8192. Yeah, like this. And you can even write like this 8K. Okay, you can say session equal to, and you can make it, sorry, these are all to be in double quotes. Okay, everything, the values of the attributes will be in double quotes. Session equal to, by default it is true. You want to make it false, you can make it false. Now if you make the session as false, then it will not participate in a session. If you saw the implicit object list, there is one object called session also, right? this will not be available if the session is false. This variable will not be there. This implicit object not available. Okay, fine. So if one can make this session false, I don't want to use a session now. Okay, and so that can be done. I'll just put it. Yeah. Okay. Here, what are the? There are some implicit imports which are always there. You don't need import for them. Okay. Yeah. So default value is Java, and that's the only valid value. Okay, fine. This is the only valid value which is there. So, because what is this language equal to? It says yes, it will be translated from JSP. This JSP gets translated into Java file. Okay, so that's the only option we have. We don't have like JSP getting translated into some other language. Okay, fine. There are some implicit. There are all in. Okay. Let me mention here. Okay, anyway, it would end in percentage greater than. JSPs have an implicit following packages. Okay, we understand java.lang anyway. For any Java file, it is always there, right? So that I am not mentioning, or let me put that java.lang.star. Okay, this anyway would be there, right? Plus java x.servlet.star, java x.servlet.http.star, java x.servlet.jsp.star. So these would always be there. Okay, fine. These imports are always there. We don't need any imports if we are using anything from these particular packages. Okay, fine. These two we understand, they are part of the servlet API, and this is part of the JSP API. And I've shown that JSP page, HTTP JSP page, right? The JSP writer, they are all in this javax.servlet.jsp package. Okay, and you could even see the translated code. It would include that. This has the import declarations. Let's check the import declarations. Oops. Right, these three imports, yeah, they're always there. Fine. So any JSP, when it is translated, these imports are always there. So if you need more imports, fine, through a page directive you can get your imports. Fine. You are trying to use some of your some Java components which you might have created as part of your application. All that can be included by using the fine. So you can manage, for example, okay, so we can fine, let's update, let's put the page directive to include a util package. Okay, I want to use the import java.util, right? So if there are direct page directive, it should be the first thing. Okay, at the rate, sorry, page import equal to Java. Okay, and that's it. Yeah, and let's go through this again. Let's reload this. Okay, and your translated code. Yeah, here you can see this, right? So getting any imports, fine, that's through the page directive. So page directive will affect the import and overall uh, uh, more on the, it's not about having some member within the class, but more on the outside part. Plus there are some more things, fine. For example, when we say auto flush, okay, so that's going to affect this uh, out which is there, right? This, or even there's something like, okay, sure, there are some more of those content type, we say set content type, right? We use that response dot set content type. That's a method on the response. Okay, so equal to, and someone could change it, okay, or I'll put the default value text slash HTML. Okay, that's a default. Okay, so you can even have content type, fine. So if you want, you can put content type, or someone saying, yeah, okay, fine, we can try. So want to make it text plain, let's say, right? So then we should see the full text, plain text tags as it is, right? All the tags, the HTML tags will be shown to us if I make it text plain. So in the page directive, right? So in this we are saying content type equal to text slash, and just to show, okay, normally we shouldn't be doing this, but this just to see that yes, this has an effect here. Okay, how it affects, so check this now. Okay, and this is what it has shown to me now. And it's with all the tags. Okay, the way it has affected here, you can see what has changed in the translated code. So if you want to see the translated code, in translated code we have one place, now this is within the JSP service method. So in the JSP service method, okay, we have set response.set content type. After this, yeah, response.set content type. So this is where it is affecting. Okay, so default would be text HTML. Right. Okay, now what happens, like if there is an error exception which occurs while the execution of service method happens, right? So what you might like to do, normally what we have seen, what happened, we saw, right? It showed me some stack trace, right? It shows on this, in the browser it is showing some stack trace. Right? So in the browser, when it is showing some stack trace, we may not like that, right? So instead of that stack trace, maybe we have created some standard error page for this. Okay, so in that case we can mention that if there is an error, please show this page and don't, fine. So if there is an error, please redirect to another page. So that can be mentioned again through a page directive. So in page directive, okay, you have, okay, so you can say yeah, here you can say error page equal to, and maybe you have created some other JSP for the purpose of displaying, getting redirected whenever there is an error. So if I'm saying error page equal to, okay, it means this is your, so there is no default here, but fine. This is where it should redirect. Okay, fine. So if an exception occurs, redirect to this page. Okay, now just imagine what happens. What about that particular JSP? Okay, so there is one more setting by default which is true, is error page. Default is false. Okay, fine. If you make it true, for example, who will have it as true? Someone who develops the error JSP. In that he'll say, okay, at the rate page, and then he'll say is error page equal to true. Okay, fine. So page directive. So page directive will be something like that. Okay, that's what should be done. Okay, other things are fine, but that's one of the things. Okay, fine. So if you have developed it as a target of an error, right, then is error page should be shown as true. Okay, in which case there is one more implicit object. See, we were talking about implicit object. So there is one more implicit object, okay, which is only for the error page. Okay, so there is one additional implicit object. Okay, and that one is type is throwable, and name of that variable is exception. So exception is one more implicit object which will appear only in those as a local variable. Like all these declarations we saw in the underscore JSP service. In case of an error page where it says is error page equal to true, right? In such a case, this variable will also appear. Okay, this will be one additional variable. So there is a variable called exception. So if an exception occurs during the execution of underscore JSP service, and if an error page has been shown, okay, it has been declared, right? We have the page directive saying error page is so and so. Fine. In that case, the exception which has occurred here will be available by a variable called exception in the error page. So error page will get that exception object. Okay. Yeah. Again, one more point was which I should mention, only related to the HTTP session. This one. Okay. By default, it is there, not available. So if someone has said session equal to false, then this will not be available. Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. So here if someone is set to false, the variable session is not there, right? Auto flush, there is some auto flush and buffer, right? Two are used together. Yeah. Yeah, so these are some most commonly used ones. There might be one or two more things in this directive. There's one more directive after the page directive. Okay. 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 So we have an include directive. So it will be used as percentage at the rate include, and then it would say file equal to, and this can be any JSP fragment. Okay. Okay. See, when I'm saying any JSP fragment means this is like if you know C language, right? You have the hash include in C language. What happens in case of a hash include? Before the compilation starts, right? It includes that source code in this current file, and then treats it like, okay, it's part of this file, and then compiles accordingly. Okay. So same way, in case of a include directive, okay, fine, you might, you develop the okay, let me show you why you might use the where you might probably need this include. Okay, include file. Okay. Most of the places when you design a website, okay, fine, because these are about web pages. So web pages for a particular web application, you'll have the header part and the footer part, which would normally be a standard, right? Other parts may keep on changing, but right, the other body content may change, but the header of the body and the footer within the body page, okay, in all the pages may appear to be same. So if you want them to be same, you might keep them in one separate small fragment of the JSP, because it's not the entire page itself, right? It's just part of a page. Okay, so you can create a fragment, and you may so you may have a file. Okay, you can give any extension to this file. Okay, one of the preferred extensions could be, okay, file. Okay, example, you might say header dot JSPF, just to make a difference, from differentiate it, that this is not a full-fledged JSP. It's something which may get included in a JSP. Fine. So header.jspf, footer.jspf. Okay. Fine. Now in some hello.jsp, or in all the pages. Okay. So in all the pages for a web application, you might say, okay, hash, not hash, it is percentage at the rate include file equal to, and in double quotes you might say header.jspf. Okay, I've used JSPF as a extension. You can give whatever extension name you like. Okay, but it is just there to differentiate from a full-fledged JSP. It's not a full-fledged part of a it's just some fragment of a JSP. Okay, you have all other things here. Okay, and maybe at the end you might again say, because what goes at the end is again almost the same thing in all the pages. File equal to. Okay, so that's something which may go. Okay, and so that it could be like this. So the page specific content in right? So JSP file may have this kind of a directive. Okay, so fine. This is a directive at the rate include. Yeah. Okay. So any questions so far? Yeah. Because we have seen the various scripting elements of a JSP. Okay. And we may have to also look at the expression language. Okay. EL, what we call as the EL, and it will make our task much simpler. Okay. I think even before EL, we might use a JSTL. So we may first have a look at the JSTL and then the expression. Actually, both of them go quite hand in hand. So we may have to look at these two things also. Okay. Fine. And then another thing which we have to understand is what is MVC. You know what is MVC? MVC design pattern. Yeah. Yeah. You know this? No. Any idea what is MVC?
Model view control.
Model view control. So you do have idea of model view controller. Okay. Fine. So we will discuss this also, right? In web application, how MVC is applicable, right? What is MVC for web applications? Okay. Okay. So any questions? Yeah. Okay, then fine. Then we can continue tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow same time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.